So as we wake refreshed and renewed for another day of adventuring, it also appears like all of our ailments have suddenly been cured. And that's because whenever we turn in a soul to death, he will cure us of any conditions we are under. For now, though, I think it's time we pick another prime target. And while we do have 2 targets available, I don't know, maybe we can pump Gregory for some information and see what we might be able to learn. And right off the bat, he starts to bring up something about mummies, and he gives us a little bit of a clue about their activities for the day. So I guess that seems like a reasonable target to start with.
Who would you like to hear about?
Yeah, the mummies in this case are a duo, a father and son. Let's learn about the father first. Now, the father has a very interesting quirk about him, in so much as that he has a sword embedded into his skull. Now, while this does cause him quite awful headaches and fainting spells, in reality, he doesn't even seem to notice that it's there. Instead, he seems to focus on the non-existent maladies that he feels are constantly hounding him. And in regards to his son, Mummy Dog, well, it's kind of the exact same situation, though instead of a sword, his son has an axe in his head, which might explain his, I guess Gregory describes it as blissful ignorance, though some might call it stupidity. Let's go with that. Still, they do love each other dearly, and they have almost daily competitions to see who can sport the most horrible malady, which apparently Gregory is pretty tired about hearing about. Still, seems like a pretty interesting target for us to hunt down, and I think as we already saw on the map, yeah, it looks like Mummy Papa is right nearby in the library, so let's see if we can't start getting a little sneaky peek on him. Now, obviously, we don't want to do that under the watchful gaze of Gregory here. Yeah, let's see what this dog mastermind's like.
Oh.
Well, this is a bit unexpected, I would say. Kind of looks like his soul is ripe for the taking. And this isn't a trap or anything like that. This is just the soul for us to get. Just like taking candy from a puppy, I suppose. Still, I do feel pretty bad leaving him here like this.
Oh.
I mean, we can't help him, but I don't know, maybe... we should probably tell his son that something is amiss with his dad. Still, it is nice after, I guess, all the stuff we've already had to go through, especially with the lost doll and some of the other souls, to really get another easy soul. Just something about this seems like it might be a little bit too easy. Also, I might have a little bit of a misgiving about maybe talking to Mummy Dog here. But we have to do the mortal thing here, I suppose. And And it does give us a chance to look around in their room. It does have, I guess, a medical motif, considering the massive amounts they probably spend on these head wounds. But yeah, we can't interact with Mummy Dog directly. We have to wake him via knock.
Hey!
Yeah, he is not happy to see us.
Hey, are you feeling sick? Okay then, take this medicine. Okay! Thank you for this soul.
So, someone in the thread mentioned that they did want to see what happened whenever we had a soul on us and it was taken back by its owner. And it's pretty horrible, to say the least. Now, we've seen nervousness, and headache just makes us take increased damage. The real curiosity here is that melancholy state. You might be wondering what that is, and I'll be learning about that very shortly, but the real factor here is the fact that we have lost our soul, or the soul we took from the mummies, and that means we're going to have to figure out their patterns and try to get it back from them. You know, it won't be as easy as when we initially got it. Especially considering that this is what happens whenever you get put into a state of melancholy. Your movement speed gets drastically reduced. And considering the awful state that we're in, probably aren't in the best state to go after a soul, though we haven't been to the jacuzzi yet, and that might just be the thing to perk us up. I mean, we did manage to get a laughing shroom last time around, which would cure melancholy if we still had it. You know, you never know. Could be a lovely dip we could have in the jacuzzi. Or maybe not. I've heard that sulfurous springs can be good to some degree, but maybe not in the sense of directly touching them. While that is a curious figure in the center of the jacuzzi there, more or less the only real thing of interest to us in here is a few items. Though there is a very, very small chance that the mummy dogs might decide to take a little dip in here themselves, and you can probably assume, anemic people probably should not be in very confined, hot places. And this is possibly one of the easier spots to pick up their souls. Or soul, I should say. Still, though, it doesn't really do us any good. And this speed handicap is something we want to take care of as quickly as possible. So, that means that we should probably take a quick trip to the store, just to use some of these excess items we have instead of using an item we already have. And the good news is that we have a little bit of a shortcut open to us, because the courtyard is now open for business. So not only is this an easy means to cut our way across the ground floor, there are also a few items down here for us to collect. Now, these are just simple green herbs, giving me a little bit of trouble picking them up. The special thing about them, though, is that they will actually grow back after a day has passed in the game. That means that we now have relatively easy access to a replenishing source of healing. Probably haven't mentioned it before, but there is a small caveat with sleeping. It will definitely heal you, but you can't spam sleep. It will take into account the fact that, oh, you slept like 20 seconds ago. What are you doing? You can't sleep again. You're not tired. So that is not a constant means of healing, and it does have some diminishing returns if you just take short naps. But in addition to those herbs, we also have another fine piece of literature here amongst the junk. And there was one other item that we do want to get before we head over to the store, though I'll say that this is just a good representation about why you really don't want to be under a state of melancholy in this game, which I think you are pretty likely to get if you do have a soul taken away from you. Though I guess the good thing is that you will only ever get a soul taken away by its owner. It's not as if Catherine could attack us and steal the soul, so we only have to worry about her stabbing us, I guess. For now, though, let's just make a quick little jump cut over to the store and get this dealt with.
Welcome to
Now, the good news is that since we did pick up that spring water, it's not a great healing item. It's a reasonably easy source of currency to exchange for something a little bit more useful.
Please come again.
Quickly pop these hallucinogenic shrooms. And that's at least one of our ailments dealt with, though it is probably the most dangerous. And I guess that brings up the other issue here, and that's the fact that it's not really immediately apparent, but in this case, since we do have two targets, either one of them could be carrying the soul. So let's maybe go give a peek at Mummy Dog and see what he's up to. Because the only real way for us to know which one of these two mummies is carrying that soul is to just give a little sight-see. Well, that means that the soul is still in the hands of Father Dearest. He is definitely not in a place where we can get it, so well, I guess there is one other spot we can look at before we plan our attack, and that is where we took a quick gander at Gregory's little enjoyment of the arts, let's say. So, let's take a peek inside. Now, oddly enough, the storeroom is one of the creepier spots in the ground floor. It's got just all types of, I guess, odds and ends that maybe other guests have left behind. And obviously there's Gregory's reading corner. Still, there really isn't too much to this room. I will say I have found that James will never go in here, so it's a nice reprieve from having to deal with him. Just something about this room is really discomforting. And since we are pretty low on health and still not in any particular state to be going after those souls, I guess we can wait till the next day. As we wake anew, still a little bit hurting, we do stumble across an odd scene in the nurse's office. It seems that the dogs are having their daily checkup with Catherine. And the soul is right there, right for the taking. It's just, I do not think we'd be able to get out of there. And also, well, you can't really be too certain before Mummy Dog and Mummy Papa decide to pop back to life from their unconscious anemic state. There are quite a few problems with dealing with the mummies. They have a very erratic pattern. They have quite a few places that they decide to visit on the ground floor. And what makes matters worse is that it can be pretty random when they do decide to pass out. So, while this initially started out as a pretty easy exercise, it took quite a bit of time to finally spring my trap. My cunning trap. I just had to remember that old adage, it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. We do have to be very careful, very quiet, don't go running in here. After all that hard work, we finally have that soul back in our grasp. And that seems like as good a time as any to call it a day and get a little bit of rest, though it looks like our figurine collection has oddly increased. I'm not sure why. Didn't really get more done with Catherine. Well, that doesn't seem to have stopped us from getting her lovely little figurine. Now, I'm still not entirely certain if she is a dinosaur or a lizard, but if anything is for certain, she is a beaut. And that is a lovely reward for just going through all that hell. So, with that done, I will be seeing you next time.
Come on now! Give it up! Throw away all them worries. Oh, it's you! Did you manage to pick up any souls? Oh, you only brought me one, huh? I take it? Hey, thanks a lot. Here, I'll stamp your card for you. Hey, you don't look so good. Here, this'll fix you right up. Good luck there, buddy!